a point of altercation. And for the most part, that has created some level of proper enforcement where both the enforcer and the enforcee recognize that what they are engaged in is actually being captured for the full view of a third party. So that's working pretty well.
Okay. Now, this issue of traders shutdown, isn't it inconveniencing the project of a smart city campaign?
It obviously is an inconvenience, but like I say, sometimes if you must have an omelette, some eggs must break. So that's why we are saying that inconvenience, be it as it may, we are hoping that our sister agency can work around with those affected to bring back the city to normal programming. But we also know that, again, it's a necessary evil, that some people in clamor of what they believe is their rights or to put across their satisfaction over something, they will choose to do what they have done. Gladly, it's a peaceful way of revolt. They are just shutting their shops. They are not destroying property. There's no looting. There's no anarchy. So we believe that that is a civilized way of engagement, and sooner or later we'll be back to normal programming.
Okay, and you said, you noted that somewhere you're also part of, you hope collect these funds. Is there a way you appropriately interact with these traders to have a harmonious ground?
Yes, our revenue collection team is always face to face with the traders in the city. Now they are threatening to shut their shops on their own volition as a revolt. But KCCA is famous for shutting their shops for failure to pay trading licenses and other levies that they duly owe to. We have our seals. We go around shutting these places down. So what does that entail? It means that we have a first-hand engagement and interaction with these traders. We understand, for the most part, what they go through as traders, but we also appreciate that as they demand for services, because those traders use the roads that you are saying are pothole riddled that require to be maintained. They fall sick and need to get medication from our health facilities. They have children who go to schools. KCCA operates 79 primary schools in this city. Did you know? We operate 22 secondary schools in this city. That's all service provision. How will we service these traders if they do not pay their taxes? Like I told you, KCCA does not make Coca-Cola, does not make mineral water, does not bake bread, does not have a product on the shelf that we sell for profit. We are a service provider on behalf of government. The only way we are able to provide this service is through picking from the government pass, and the only way the government pass is replenished is through the taxation of citizens to pay their duly owed share of taxes, so that these taxes can be used for service provision. Of course, there is always the counter argument that, but no, we are already paying too many taxes and we don't see much of service provision being provided for. Fair enough. Do your part as a citizen and pay your taxes. That then gives you the wherewithal, or as they say in law, the locus standi, to demand for better services. And if the services are not being provided for, then you as a citizen, like they tell us in the constitution that power belongs to the people, then you can use your constitutional power to change the leadership of a country that you believe is not providing the adequate services. But to say you are not going to pay taxes that you duly owe a government, and yet you are the same person that will demand for services, is a tad unfair on your part as a citizen.
Wow. And the head of corporate and public affairs at KCCA, Mr. Simon Kasyate, is here taking us through what is transpiring in the city, the interventions supposed to be made. Yes, in order to have a smart city agenda, just like it is always said in, of course, it is their major agenda at KCCA. And of course, that is everyone's dream, to have a very smart city here in Kampala. Well, the discussion is continuing. We're going in for a very short break and return with more.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Family TV, enriching lives.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
When you are in the Lord, when you are sealed in the Lord, the devil looks at you and you are glittering. The devil locates a crown. For any person that the devil locates with a crown, the devil will never eat them because they belong to the Most High.
Friends, don't you give up in any form of hardship. Don't you give up, for Jesus encourages us and says, even at the point of losing your life, for the sake of Christ and the gospel, it is okay.
My dear brothers and sisters, let us remember that God is still reigning on his throne in heaven above, and let us trust in him. Let us rely on him. Let us pray each and every time. Let us not give up on showing ourselves out into the world that the Lord Jesus Christ is still king and he still reigns.
You and I are here to reign on the earth, not to complain, not to grumble, not to play victim, not to quarrel, but to reign on the earth.
I pray, Father, that you will release the fourth man to destroy every fire, to protect your people who are in every furnace, and set them free in the name of Jesus.
When people die, they are good. A dead body is always good. He has done us good. We cannot replace him. There's no one who is replaceable. There's no one. But what can help you? It is to leave a good legacy that people will remember you.
Sometimes I share with my students a small story of an animal which normally is regarded to be the wisest, the hare. Once in a meeting of animals chaired by the lion, which was the king of the animals, he said that all those who are in the meeting and are not married should go out. This is for the marrieds. And then the hare put up a hand. I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Yes. What is it? He said, what about some of us who sleep like married people? Should we also go?
And may I say to those of you who are not yet married, determine what kind of family you want to raise. Because the family that you raise, the children that you get, you will either sink them or you will raise them up to be good citizens and good people in the church.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Welcome back. You are still watching Issues at Hand, and of course it is Church of Uganda Family TV and being powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. The numbers are there down. Please do make the bookings, do make the reservations for you. It is a very, very interesting place to be in. Actually, very corporate. We are discussing, we're having a deep analysis of the present situation in Kampala, and the head of Public and Corporate Affairs, KCCA, Mr. Simon Peter Kasyate, is here to take us into this discussion. And in case you missed the previous one, please go to YouTube and revisit what we are discussing and how important the discussion is, by the way. So previously we had a scare, a very big scare for red eye disease. And I don't know how we are succeeding so far. Maybe you can take us through this as well.
Indeed, we did also, again, through the Ministry of Health, get notification that there is a simmering concern around red eye disease. It has an interesting scientific name that we won't go into it, but and the symptoms are clear. Red eyes are the predominant feature, and this is also itching, headaches, and the likes. But it is a disease that is highly contagious, that when I have it, within a short time you will also have it because of the proximity that we have together. And if our hands touch and you touch your eyes, you quickly get the disease. So interim measures were communicated, how to wash our hands regularly, wash our faces, keep away from places where we suspect it has, and also seek medical attention. The good thing with red eye, it is curable. It's not fatal like yellow fever. So, but what I can give you as an assurance is that KCCA is known to be an institution that steps forward in the protection of public health. Right from, if you have any doubts, look at how we stemmed the onslaught of Ebola. I mean, Ebola breaks out across the country, and like I told you earlier on, Kampala is terminus. All roads end up here, and every road starts from here. But we made sure that we contain the Ebola situation to the extent that even when the first victims fled from Mwende and entered into Kampala, we were able to sniff them out and isolate them and ensure that they do not cause a wide catching, whatever. The COVID situation, you know that KCCA was the forefront supporting and government actions, but also importantly saving lives. So the assurance you can get from us is that when it comes to matters of public health, we have not just the human resource to do so, but we have the commitment to ensure that we protect this city from the debilitating effects of the public health.
So what is the state of the red eye disease right now? Are we
because
safe
because of our interventions and the mass sensitization, we are seeing a downward trend in terms of infection, which is a very good thing. At least we are not seeing an upsurge.
That's very interesting. Now, talking about majorly, we know KCCA for rehabilitating our roads so much here in Kampala. We are seeing so much construction going on. I've seen the Kubiri roundabout being worked on. I've seen the Mulago roundabout being worked on. What are these interventions for?
It's good that you've talked about those particular roundabouts. What you're seeing is a project that we are working on with our Japanese friends from JICA to signalize 21 junctions in Kampala. Signalization means that these junctions will no longer be on who has the biggest gut, car or automobile. It is about street lights. Traffic lights, as you call them here. So, to ensure that you follow the green, the red, and the amber. Now, part of that project is going to see the erosion of 5 roundabouts. Because from our research, roundabouts many a times, as opposed to previously where they were facilitators of smooth traffic flow, in our case they are beginning to become choke points for traffic flow. So to ease on traffic flow across the city, we are going to remove the following roundabouts and turn them into signalized junctions, like we have at Fairway. You know the Fairway Golf Course? It used to be a roundabout. Many of you don't remember, but less than 10 years ago that was a roundabout. But now you have a junction with signals. So in 5 years, you may never remember that at Grand Imperial, right now, outside Grand Imperial and near Standard Chartered Bank, just above here, there's a roundabout. We will remove that.
It is also going
We are going to remove the roundabout at Renzori House, neighboring the what was previously High Court and behind near Sheraton Gardens. That roundabout is also going. Please go and take your last selfie at the roundabout of Mulago near First Pharmacy, Ministry of Health. Then the one you talked about of Kubiri, I'm sure now it's almost already
off.
If you missed your selfie, one to you. And then there is another roundabout.
Mulago is also
There's also another one of Mulago, Pastor Kakande's church, the mortuary old Mulago. So those roundabouts. So from Kubiri, mortuary, First Pharmacy, those are already 3. Then you come to Grand Imperial, 4, and then High Court, Renzori House, 5. Now, there are other places where it's a major junction, but they have not been working signals. For example, the Spear Motors junction. If you notice, there's been quite some work that's taking place there. There is also another junction near there, the Ginger Road, Katalima Road. That road that branches off the police headquarters. There is some work going on there. We're going to put their signals. Then, of course, we shall put other signals on the branch off from Nakawa to Moobs. They are there, but we want to make them. Now, when we put all the signals, the project is going to end by having all the signals in the city, all the traffic lights in the city, to be operated from one control center.
One center.
And that building, the Traffic Control Center of Kampala, is already up to its 4th floor at City Hall. If you come to City Hall right now, there's a building that we put up adjacent, and now we're going into the final stages of furnishing and the like. In there is going to be state-of-the-art traffic control technology by Japanese system called Moderato, where we're going to have automation of these lights so that they are acting on a cascade. That if you are released at Kubiri, then you'll be released at Kakandes, then you'll be released at First Pharmacy. So that there's smooth flow. As opposed to some traffic junctions where you reach one side, they release for about a minute. The next time, before you can even ignite the car, it releases half a car. So, and why? Because the control of these lights is localized. If you notice, near every junction, there's a little house built by the roadside. That's where the localized system is. System. So we are saying, rather than have localized systems decentralized to every junction, let us put them all together through one seamless control system and operate it from one control center. That even when we have a situation where there is maybe an evacuation scheduled a certain route, or maybe a VIP is coming, as opposed to whistles and sirens, we can just create an open make the flow of traffic and then close it. Also for security purposes, that sometimes you may want to deliberately close certain routes if you are perhaps in hot pursuit of a criminal and things of that nature. Yeah, so in less than 2 years, that system should certainly be up and running, and you'll have seamless traffic flow in the city.
And then I understand the flyover was made by UNRA.
Yes.
And so is it also going to be signalized down there? Because it seems too huge, and I don't know if it is going to be part of.
Yes, there's going to be signalization of that.
And it is also going to be part of.
It is going to be incorporated into our system. As you know, off the bypass, Kalerwe, Naria, Bwaise, they are Evitara. They are signals. Those are not fixed by KCCA. They are fixed by UNRA because that's the highway. But we will incorporate them into our centralized system so that they are part of the traffic flow and management. Yes. We don't work in silos, especially on issues that are cross-cutting. We many times work collaboratively with the different agencies, ministries, and departments of government.
And how far with the rehabilitation of people, what they call potholes?
Well, the rehabilitation of potholes, as you want to put it, is a going concern. It will never stop. Because where you fix a pothole, another one will grow the next day, because you're using the same roads, you're putting more pressure on the roads, and so that's why we call it routine maintenance. The same way you can say how far with your meals. You will always have meals because that's how you nourish your body. So, like I said earlier on the program, we hope that we get enough financing to ensure that we carry out our routine maintenance of this physical infrastructure to such a level that it doesn't appear as broken down as it has been in the past. Because in the past, what you are seeing and what still prevails even to date is not the failure on our part as KCCA to do our work, but it is a show that we do not have the requisite financing to enable us to carry out this work. So what we are doing is shuttle diplomacy with government to ensure that we engage different stakeholders, from the parliamentarians that appropriate the budget. And I think we have seen the determination from the side of government at all levels to give KCCA, and especially the vote on roads maintenance, preferential treatment, because we recognize that physical infrastructure of any city is what binds us as a city that is out for growth. So we see some improved financing, which we appreciate, and on our part we commit that we shall do our very best for this routine maintenance. Just for you to understand how we do it, if you don't mind, there are 3 levels. There is the first, what we call routine maintenance, that is done by our in-house teams, because at every division we have roads maintenance teams that go ahead, just to fill up a patch here and there and all that. That's work that we do routinely, almost on a daily, because our teams are also out there scouting and looking for these potholes. You may have the cry and there are many potholes here, and you think KCCA does not know about them. Matter of fact, we do know those potholes even by name. So our teams are out there every day. Where we don't attend, it's not because we don't want to, but because we don't have the financing. Then sometimes we have what you'd consider to be a second tier of maintenance, where you need sectional repairs. Say this section between Church House and Diamond Trust Bank has gone so bad. I think let's do what we call scrarify, just remove the entire layer of the existing tarmac, and then we recompact, put all the other components of the road, and then put paving on top. That's usually done by our local contractors that we have on framework contract. So like you have a construction company that meets our specifications and is already in the government EGP or the e-government procurement system. So we will give you those kind of works. Then the third tier is the big rehabilitation works, like you're seeing with the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project, where we open up for international bidding. We have huge financing from big financiers like the African Development Bank, the World Bank, and other places. And so when we open up for international bidding, many a times we see they coming into play of foreign companies. And for this particular case, KCRRP, the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project, we've seen all the companies are actually Chinese. Why? Well, they went through the normal procurement and they beat, because our parameters are on who can do the job at lowest cost, but showing that they will deliver to our agreed specifications within the time allocated. And usually these foreign companies bid and win. Largely, they beat our own companies, not because of anything else, but I think the cost of their financing. I mean, if I'm going to borrow here at a local commercial bank at 27%, and you are borrowing from your home country at 1%, or a concession loan, which does not require you to have even collateral, at that point, the point of financing, I'm already disadvantaged against you. So, but what we encourage them to do is, when these international firms get these contracts, we advise them to partner with local firms, if for nothing else, for skills transfer, apprenticeship, and things of that nature. And the good thing is that they only come here in a company name and bring a very minimum level of staffing. So we encourage them to employ locals, again, to provide employment for our young people, but importantly, for skills transfer.
Now, still talking about roads, we are now heading into the rainy season. We are already in the rainy season, and last year it was a sort of disaster when the floods did to try to hit us, those sides of Lugogo. So how far with the drainage system construction and rehabilitation?
That is still a going concern. We are doing that, but you know that our flooding is not so much because there is no drainage to talk about. It is because you and I and this person watching us on TV this morning find it important to drink from a plastic bottle and throw it out of the window, which eventually this plastic bottle will find its way into a choke point called a drainage channel. Now, if there is 500 of us doing that every minute, those are 500 bottles being deposited in a drainage channel somewhere in a minute. When it rains, the water flow will be disrupted by the litter that we have thrown on our roads, from plastics, from garbage, from all sorts of things that we throw around, including carcasses of our pets. Now, that now calls for civic awareness that we should appropriately dispose of our garbage in a prescribed manner that does not end up in our but also our beautiful city Kampala is set on beautiful undulating hills, and for every hill there is a valley, and for the most part these valleys are swamps or catchment areas for rainwater and other flowing water. Do you know of any catchment area or a swamp in Kampala that has not been encroached on? And who encroaches on it? KCCA? Certainly not. It is you and I and this person watching us on TV with a holier than thou attitude, always blaming KCCA for the floods, but he's living in a wetland right now. He's watching us in the comfort of his sitting room, right in the pathway of water, having gotten there illegally. That person, you, are also contributing to flooding in this city. Now, of course, you will say, but who gives them permission? You are the ones who give them titles for these places and all that. And I always challenge anyone who asks me that question. Show me one title sanctioned by KCCA in a wetland. Then why don't your enforcement team come and stop them who are busy building in wetlands? And I also tell them, have you gone to this construction site in wetlands and see the people that are building in there? Some of them are building with military escort.
Oh, yes.
Our enforcement team, the most they hold is a baton. Now, so we are in this part of a country where we are seeing the effects of our bad manners. But somehow we turn a blind eye and want to blame an institution like KCCA for not training in on our bad manners. KCCA, yes, the best we can do is tell you, please, don't dump garbage in a trench. But if your bad manners are such that for you a trench is where you see as a garbage bin, when it rains and it floods, certainly the flood will come back to you and affect you. Likewise, when you encroach on a wetland and forestall the process of natural flow of water, eventually nature will come to find its path, and it never misses an address. It goes back to where it's supposed to be.
Okay. That's it. So should we get scared? Okay. About the flooding? You
should be very scared unless something is done, and it starts with individuals to recognize that they owe it to themselves to have the good manners not to encroach. And you see, encroachment is also not a bad thing if you are doing it in unison and you're doing it systematically, like the Dutch did when they were reclaiming land from the bed of the sea. I mean, some cities in Holland are below sea level, but they did it as a social consciousness, as a society, as a people. But you go to Chinawataka Swamp, the one that is separating Mbuya Hill, Chireka Hill, and Chambogo Hill. You find they have 63 freehold titles owned by eminent people, some of whom are church leaders. None of them knows each other. You call them for a meeting, they don't come themselves, they will send proxies. So they cannot even work together to try and see how they can, harness nature so they can coexist with it. Everyone is building on their own. One wants to put up a warehouse, another wants to put on a shack, another wants to put on a bus terminal, wants to put on a petrol station, another wants to put, like it is, and to hold them together becomes difficult. Now, of course, at this point, someone watching must be saying, so is this man throwing his arms in the air and saying KCCA does not have physical planning and things of that nature? Yes, we do, and that's why we're able to know who owns what where, and that means we are in the process of engaging with them. But what I'm trying to tell you is the reality of how difficult the engagement is going to be. Like I said, if you look at the people who own the 63 freehold titles in the Chinawataka Swamp, you may even fear to call a meeting. Because these are eminent people who you know should know better. How they get those titles, they know. That's a conversation for another day. But here we are. That's what I'm telling you, that as a country, there should be a certain social consciousness to try and strive to do the right thing. And people like you who own platforms such as this one, the Church of Uganda Family TV, should be preaching goodness and holiness. Let me tell you, when you encroach on a wetland that is supposed to serve the greater public good, you are as good as someone that has gone out with a rifle and shot people dead. Because what you are doing is going to have a ripple effect on the livelihood of many people. You are a murderer. You have committed the sixth, you have broken, is it the sixth commandment? Thou shalt not kill. If you make a title fraudulently in a wetland which is supposed to be a government facility, but somehow you have a freehold personal title, you have stolen. That's theft. You who own these platforms should be able to speak truth to power, look us in the face and tell us like that as it is. But do we say? Like I said, I'm not here to make any judgments, but I can tell you without fear of contradiction that I saw one of the titles belongs to a church leader.
Wow. It's a big call.
Anyone challenges me to that, I show them the evidence. So that's why I'm telling you that so KCCA, even with our challenges of financing and goodwill and everything, sometimes we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place, given the moral fabric of the society in which we operate. You will hear people throwing all sorts of allegations at KCCA employees. Oh, those guys are corrupt, they are this, they are the other. I have my sister who runs business in this town. My sister is my sister, meaning that she is cut from the same material as me. So if I'm corrupt, she is. You must possibly have a cousin at KCCA who is like you, behaves like you. So when you are there out here pointing a finger at KCCA, we are not born and selected to be at
there.
KCCA. No, we come from the same moral fabric as the society in which we operate. So when you are pointing at us as corrupt, inept, and all sorts of things, check yourself too. And that's why we also come here and say, we are also finding ourselves in a situation where we want to give you services, but we are in a morally corrupt society. My phone never stops ringing from people calling because they know and have my number for me to do them favors out of them not wanting to do the right thing.
Wow.
Then after, when no favor is done or somewhere along the way they have forgotten and they find themselves face to face with bad service delivery, they quickly run to X. This KCCA that doesn't repair roads. I said, excuse me. The other day you were asking me to save you from the police having knocked a pole when you were drunk. Anyway,
it's a very, very big concern. Well, we could speak and speak and speak, but well, matters are so many to speak about here in Kampala. And of course, majorly, one thing I've realized, it is a very big concern to us, the people are dwelling in the city. It is actually a big, big responsibility for us to really take care of the city, not the city taking care of us. So it is a big concern. Yes, those occupying the wetlands, I don't know what intervention should be made, but you know better what the effect you're bringing in society and to the greater Kampala as well. Well, I think our time is fast spent. I would just request Mr. Simon to give us his last remarks as we end this.
Well, one is to wish our Muslim brethren who will be celebrating Eid, I believe, tomorrow, and we thank them for going through the ritual of adhering to one of the pillars of their faith. We hope that together their prayers will carry us forward as a community and as a people, but also to welcome back those of the Christian folk who just concluded the Easter festivities, which I think is one of also the major highlights of the Christian faith, because it speaks about the salvation of man by Jesus Christ dying on the cross and then showing that he's God by rising again. Now, when all that is said and done, we are back to normal programming. We are back into the city to face our hustles and bustles, those that have them, and also to face our fears, those that have them, and also work on the solutions for all our challenges. As KCCA, we remain unwavering and committed in providing the services that we do provide, even in the midst of great challenge, adversity, and of course the absence of adequate financing. But our resolve is clear. We are out there to provide you the services we need. All we require from your end as citizens is give us that feedback that comes in, and we receive a lot of it, of course, 80% of which is always negative, because we not that we believe you hate us as an institution, but we believe that you clamor for better, and that is what keeps us going, and that's what keeps us awake, that the citizens of Kampala, our visitors and those who commute through or transit through Kampala, expect better, and that's why they are always demanding for better service delivery, better infrastructure, better physical planning, better education, and everything in between. Please keep that feedback coming, and that's how we possibly shall continue to work and walk through those baby steps of improvement, and we hope that we will be at one point able to provide you with sufficient or at least appreciable service delivery for God and my country.
Thank you so much. He is Mr. Simon Kasyate, the head of Public and Corporate Affairs at KCCA, and we have been analyzing the situation, the current situation here in Kampala. I appreciate that you joined us today, and I want to wish you a lovely day. Please stay on for more programs, but also to enrich your lives. My name is Luke Majumba Al-Naitwe, and I wish you a lovely day.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.